Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is January 18th, 2024. Lee, I think you had a birthday yesterday, right? So happy birthday
I
on that.
did.
And how you feeling?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
How you feeling
Yeah.
today?
I'm feeling all right. How about yourself, bud?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Steelers season is over as we went through a little bit on that post-game show. Any final thoughts on the game, I guess? I don't have anything myself, but if you have
I don't
anything you
have
want to hit on.
anything. Nah,
Nope.
just disappointing end of the season that way, but hopefully next year's better is all.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on, and I think today is like the start of looking towards the offseason. Mike Tomlin had his final post game, or not just final press conference, weekly press
Yeah.
conference today. So I figured we were going to jump into the offseason anyway. Why don't we let Tomlin lead us through, listen
All
to what
right.
he has
Yeah,
to
that
say, and
works.
we'll pop in and out and give our 2 cents for all his
That
comments, all the
works.
questions he received. But let's just start on with
Sounds
his opening statements.
sounds good.
Today, man, anybody got any contract questions? Uh, I'll say this. I certainly could have handled that situation better than I did, but I'll also say this. I just believe there's a time and place for everything, and post-game press conferences are probably not the place to address contract issues and things of that nature. It's just a very individual thing, and on game day, I doubt any of us are in that mindset. Certainly I am not. What's required to do what it is that we do, the amount of focus pouring into a collective. I'm just not in that mind state, and I just don't believe that's the appropriate venue to talk about things of that nature. Certainly open and willing to do it today in this venue.
So there we go. That's his response to the walkout last week. I guess he had to
Yeah.
address it. I didn't think he was going to address it. I don't know why I assumed he wouldn't, because I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. But yeah, he opens it
Yeah.
up by talking about that. What are your thoughts on his opinion on waiting till the weekly press conference rather than a post game? Do you think that is a big deal, or how are you feeling about what
I
he's saying
mean,
there?
I kind of agree with what he was saying because I mean they were just more about talking about the game. I mean, they just ended the game, and you would really want the reporters to ask about the game and not about him individually. Again, I can see why, maybe they asked that because it's the end of the season, and maybe that reporters knew, maybe they didn't know there was another end of the season post little conference that he would do. But I think he hit on it. I think it was a good point that he said, to kind of wait till a venue like this where it's just all about him and not just about losing the game. And, of course, there's some frustration. He probably didn't want to lose that game, but the game wasn't coached, the way he wanted to be coached. I mean, it's been a long season for them all, but I have no problem with what he did there. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the reporter's name is Brooke Pryor. I'm pretty sure she's been a beat writer for more than definitely for all this year. I'm pretty sure all last year and maybe even further than
Oh,
that. So
okay.
she's been around for a while. Um, like I don't. I get what he's trying to say here, but I really don't think it
Yeah.
matters. And I mean, you're paid to answer questions. It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that was. First of all, we don't know exactly what the question was going to be. We know it was about his contract, but we don't know how far into the
Yeah.
contract it was going to be. What because he walked off before he could hear the full question.
Yeah.
And I mean, the like you hear. I think it's not out of the realm of questions that you can give someone in a post game presser at the final game of the
Yeah.
season. Because sometimes you want to have that raw emotion in someone's response, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
get why
Sure,
he
you're right.
wouldn't want to give a raw response. Because I know there's been other times in the past players talking about asked about retirement during a post game
Mm-hmm.
presser, stuff like that, where like they may give an answer there that is based off like just the emotion of the losing the game. Whereas
Yeah.
if they get some time to think about it, it'll change. So maybe that's his
Yeah.
thought process on it was that he didn't want to say anything that he wasn't sure about at that point.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, both. Like I said, I don't think it's an issue. I didn't expect him to even have to
No.
come out and say anything, but he
Yeah.
did. So that goes that, and now I think he's about to talk a little bit about what's next for him and the players through this
Okay.
stretch of the off season.
Sounds good.
In
Sounds good.
assessing our last performance in the season, I'm proud of the guys. I'm proud of their.
Actually, I'm wrong. He does that a little later. So I think he's about to talk about the game himself. So maybe we can
Okay.
his thoughts.
Okay.
Our last performance in the season. I'm proud of the guys. I'm proud of their fight. I'm certainly disappointed that we're not preparing to play this week. I know that they are. It comes to a screeching halt. These are awkward days kind of at the end of the season. And so we're finding our footing. We're doing appropriate things. Exit interviews. I'm in the.
I'm gonna stop it right there real quick.
Yeah.
To be petty, I mean, you wish you were preparing for this week, but the start of the game last week doesn't show too much prep anyway. So
No, not at all.
I don't know exactly what the prep would have been going into this week.
Yeah. I mean,
and then
probably nothing. They probably just do whatever they do for the Ravens because they did beat them twice this season. So
yeah,
they're probably just like, well, it's the Ravens. We know what we need to do, so let's just go out there and do it. Yeah.
I mean, and it's just last week either. We were talking about it, 66-0 in the last like 5 playoff games in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You wish you were preparing. Maybe if you would have prepared last week, you would be prepared.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Maybe I'm being a little bit of an asshole there than myself. Now I think he's going to go into. Now I think he's going to go into the offseason a little bit.
And so we're finding our footing. We're doing appropriate things. Exit interviews. I'm in the midst of beginning those things with players and staffing. The players themselves are exiting appropriately, meeting with coaches, departmental meetings, training staff, equipment, strength and conditioning, etc., nutrition. Those are the things that kind of go on this time of year in an effort to review what transpired, to gather information, all so that when the time is right, man, we start building for 2024. We do so with that information, with those lessons learned, with that experience individually and collectively. And so we got a lot of work ahead of us. There were some things to be proud of. Obviously, there's some things that require a lot of attention and work. But first and foremost, man, we got to information gather. We got to assess what transpired. Those who are lacking health, obviously, have to address that sooner rather than later. We're not into medical issues lingering into the off season. We probably have a few surgeries scheduled. I don't have that list. Nothing major, some cleanup procedural things, but nothing major. TJ's rehabilitation is going well. He probably would have been available had we played this week. Got a couple guys in the concussion protocol from the last.
Hit on that. It's disappointing to hear that TJ would be back if you were still playing. But it is good to hear that he's not having any long-term effects from that, at least it seems like.
Yeah, that's good. You hate to see when a good player like that gets injured like that. And again, you could play hindsight, bias and Monday morning quarterbacking, but who's to say, what could have been different if he was out there and did get injured? I mean, you just don't know what could have happened. It could have been the same thing, so.
Yeah, the one thing we do have is the fact that he's 1-11, or the Steelers are 1-11 without him. So I mean that is something to point to. But I think you had another point there, real quick.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's just there's a lot of injuries that happened during this season, and you just want to hope for a speedy recovery for them all, and whoever is gonna be here on the depth chart this 2024 season. Hopefully that they're healthy and they can play a full season without the injuries like this they had this year. So,
let's see what goes next. I think he's about to open up for some questioning. I did skip ahead on my cut of this video, so I think we're going to get into some questions here.
Okay.
I'm just disappointed with not working. I understand the road gets narrow, but man, we worked 12 months to be on it, and we have to acknowledge that we're not. There are consequences of that, obviously, and And so it's tough, but we're built for it. This is the life we chose, man. It's an honor to lead this group, to chase what it is that we're chasing continually. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Mike, do you foresee either Eddie or Mike Sullivan being candidates for the offensive coordinator job?
Not at this juncture, man. I'm looking at outside candidates and lining up the pecking order there. I am appreciative of their efforts in terms of what they did for us down the stretch, but I'm looking at outside candidates at this juncture.
That's music to my ears. I've been saying it for a while. I want him to go outside of the organization for a hire, and hopefully it's someone who's dynamic. And that I do like that was a good answer for him politically. Did not throw either one of those guys on the bus, but just the fact is neither one of them should be offensive coordinators in the NFL. Just a fact. Maybe one day they didn't do bad down the stretch compared to what Canada was doing, but they're not ready. They're not in that position at this point to be offensive coordinators for an NFL team in my eyes.
Yeah, no, like he said, I mean, they did their best, with what they had with, what was given to them at halfway through the season. I mean, you know what I mean? They did what they could, but I agree with you. I don't think they're ready to be offensive coordinators. Like you said, maybe down the road, but not now. But yeah, I'm happy for sure that he's going to be looking outside the organization for something, and hopefully it's a good candidate that he picks for next season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's go on to the next question here for Tomlin.
Can he resume his QB1 status?
He will, but obviously there will be competition. There's always competition in this thing. We don't anoint anyone. Man, I'm appreciative of his efforts and where he is and excited about continuing to work with him. But certainly he will be challenged from a competition perspective moving forward. Competition brings the best out in all of us.
The hope of the franchise that Rudolph will be there?
I'm sorry?
Is it the hope of the franchise that Mason Rudolph will be back in providing that competition?
It is, but he is a free agent, and it is free agency. And so we'll see where that leads us.
Mike, you told.
Yeah, right there. Good to hear about the competition point. The giving back Kenny the job is kind of what I was saying on Sunday, where it'll probably be between Kenny and Mason going into the next year. But apparently, as they see it, for as much as it's worth, I mean, what's it worth at this point? It's January 18th, and preseason not till August, regular season not till September. So who really cares who the QB1 is on the depth chart, especially if you're going to have an actual open competition? I hope it is an actual open competition. I have no reason to think last year wasn't, other than, I mean, I guess other than Mason balling out down the stretch a little bit, but I do hope Mason's back also, but like Tomlin saying there, he's saying, I mean, Mason can find a contract. Maybe someone wants to pay him big money to come and compete for a job.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did his thing the last few games of the season, and again, he wasn't terribly bad in that playoff game. But I hope he stays and provides that competition. Because like Tomlin just said, I mean, competition does bring the best out of us. So if he doesn't stay, I just hope that they do go out and find somebody that can bring some competition to Kenny. Because we've talked about it. I mean, maybe Kenny's not the long-term guy. I mean, but you'd like to see some type of decent backup if Kenny's the guy, at least going down for next season, so if Mason doesn't come back. So we'll see what happens. Again, it is free agency. Maybe somebody does want to pick him up, like you said. Maybe, somebody offers him big money, like you said. But if he stays, I hope he provides that competition for Kenny for next season.
Yeah, see, where the next question goes here might be similar to what you were saying too.
Yeah.
The guys the other day in the meeting, I guess, that you intend to be back, disregard the rumors that were floating out there. You expect to get an extension this year?
Yes, I expect to be back, and I would imagine that those contract things are going to run their course, man. Art and I have a really good, transparent relationship. We communicate continually, often. I don't imagine it's going to be an issue, and I imagine it's going to get done in a timely manner at the appropriate time. But, my mindset is to coach this football team, certainly.
Deontay Johnson.
So yeah, hitting on that, I do find it odd if there is something to the ideas that he may have been stepping away this year, just because of the fact that they let him get into the last year of his contract, and you just don't see that with established
Yeah.
coaches in this league or in
Yeah.
any sport really, where
Yeah.
like you're a lame duck coach. There is something there. I don't think we should gloss over the fact that he said he's coming back, we're all good, and like any report otherwise was wrong. I really do think there was something to it at some point this year, and even coming into this, like even 2 years into the season, 2 years from his contract being up, you would think that they would have been negotiating a contract. He's saying the proper time. I think the proper time would have been in beginning of last offseason.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe something still will come about all of this during this offseason. Who knows what might happen? You just don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to back this up a little bit because I think the beginning of this question's important too. Here's the next one, a little bit about Deontay Johnson, what he has been doing on Twitter lately. Not even just Twitter, but here we go.
But, my mindset is to coach this football team, certainly.
Deontay Johnson said that he hopes Mason Rudolph gets the job. Do you worry about a competition situation potentially dividing the room or the team?
I do not. I think competition is good. I think it's good and for all of us. I think it brings out the best in all of us.
Do you expect that competition to be between Rudolph and Kenny, or are you trying to bring someone else in, whether that be draft or elsewhere?
Again, we've got a lot of decisions regarding free agency. Mason is scheduled to be a free agent, and so I'd be speculating about some of those things.
Mike, what are the things?
So, I guess in the grand scheme, it's not a big deal, but Deontay Johnson did come out and gave his endorsement to Mason over Kenny, I guess you could say. And
oh boy,
you just would wish that we wouldn't have to have this distraction already going into next year, where if Kenny does win the job, we're going to have to worry about the fact, all the media and all the background noise about, well, the receivers don't think that he's the guy, and Kenny doesn't have the locker room behind him. So I mean, it just sometimes it's better just to be quiet. And sure, it's not a big deal, but what can you do? What are your thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, I know Tomlin says that there should be no concern for like a split up or breakup in the locker room like any division, but I think it could happen. I mean, if you got some people that are behind Kenny and then you got some people that are behind Mason, and then depending on who's starting and playing that game, I mean, I think it's really just going to show like how they're playing. I mean, if we look during like the beginning, right before like Kenny got hurt and stuff, like what some of these wide receivers were doing, I mean, it definitely seemed like they just didn't care. Now, I don't know if that's because they weren't feeling that Kenny was the guy, or if they just felt that Matt Canada was a bad offensive coordinator. The playbook was terrible. I don't know, but it did seem like, once Mason got in there, they seemed be a little bit more riled up and ready to play. I don't know, but there could be some division thing. You don't want to see this, like you said, going into the offseason like this, but this isn't something that needs to happen. But I don't know. I mean, I'm a little concerned that there could be some division this offseason.
Yeah, so like if this locker room had actual leadership and was actually like a good character locker room, we shouldn't worry. But guess what? This locker room has not shown any of those qualities at all.
Not at all.
And you're right.
Not at all.
I would worry about a division in this locker room. I wouldn't be shocked. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Johnson gets traded this offseason, even if they are themselves worried about it. And I don't think I have it anywhere in this, but Najee asked what changes may be needed, and one of the things he was the structure, and like the, I guess, discipline kind of works with it of everything that goes on in the organization. I think there's a little too much freedom that everyone's getting, and maybe if you move a guy like Johnson, that sends a message that hey, things are going to change a little bit.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because it does seem like and this nothing against Tomlin. I think he's a great coach, and probably a lot of his staff are great coaches too. But it does seem like they want to be more friendly with the players and they want to be coaching them, And
Yeah,
I get that you want to have them on your side, but you also got to make sure that they're doing what needs to be done and that there is some discipline and structure, like you said, And if Najee's saying it, there's been a lot of things that Najee has said during this season that's been pretty true, So, somebody maybe does need to step up. They need to find a leader to come in and actually add that structure, discipline to that locker room. Because, if they go into the season like this, I don't know what to expect for next season.
And I do give what Najee's saying a lot more like credence, just because he did come from Alabama and he was under Nick Saban, who's, a legendary coach and one of the. I bet his programs run almost immaculately and the structure's there. And I think that's what he's seeing is like just the difference between a play that's at a college level. He was probably thinking he comes to the pros and it's going to be even more professional, even more business-like.
Yeah.
And instead he came here and he's like, oh, what's going on in this locker room? It's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But because he has made a couple comments along those lines, and I think you're right that he's the kind of guy that you should listen to what he's saying.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Let's see what we go with next here.
Things you're looking for in a new offensive coordinator, where do you feel like you guys need to evolve as an offense?
I want us to be versatile and dynamic. Obviously, we got to score more points. I want to be able to keep defenses off balance. I want to utilize all the talent that we have at our disposal. I'm excited about this process and the talent pool out there based on what I've seen thus far. I'm really open to kind of learning through this process, man, and seeing what people have to say about their visions. And so certainly have a vision of what it looks like, but certainly open to learning through this process.
Mike, you've gone in-house for these last couple of coordinator hires. Why go outside this time?
I just feel it's appropriate.
Mike, how do you evaluate decisions about your future, contract status aside?
Let's stop there. Let's talk about those two. I thought those were two enlightening questions and answers from Tomlin there. I'll let you go first. I've been hogging up a lot of the good talk at the beginning.
I like that he said that he has a mindset, but he's open to, seeing what else is out there, and that he's willing to go outside because he feels as though that's what needs to happen. I'm happy, I'm happy to hear that he has that mindset about what he wants for the offensive side of the ball going this offseason. I'm happy to hear it. I don't know if he's going to talk about defensively, but for sure, like he said, they need to score more points, utilize the talent they have, be a little more versatile. But I'm happy to, hear that he's saying it, and I hope that he sticks with it. I mean, he seems to be maybe there's a little bit of a change of heart because of how this season has gone for him, and especially how the fans have felt about the coaching staff and the playbook and things like that, how the offense has been. So, I'm glad, it kind of sucks that, it took this long, but at least at least something may be happening now,
Yeah, I mean, that is the key for me is that they got to get to a 2024 NFL offense. There has to be change. Yeah. And I don't think that anyone in this organization at this point on the offensive side of the ball is the person to take them there. So I do like the idea of getting someone new, someone fresh. Technically it doesn't have to be someone young, but it has to be someone that's open-minded. And usually that's going to be a young guy and someone that's willing to do something dynamic. Like he was saying, he wants dynamic offense. And there needs to be changes, and there needs to be something that you can look forward to in this offense, right? This whole season was bleak.
Yeah, for sure.
Even after the coaching change, you knew that you couldn't see wholesale changes in the offense until this offseason, and hopefully we get those now. I think it's a contract question. I guess we can go into one more of those contract questions.
Yeah.
But at the conclusion of each season, how do you make that decision, and how has that changed over the course of your career?
I don't know that it has. I coach football. That's what I do. I'm respectful of the position that I hold. I have no sense of entitlement in terms of what I do. I just got a high level of respect for what we all do in this space, and I try to earn it daily, and I think that's just my mentality. I don't ponder a lot of things. I'm appreciative of things daily, and I try to work with urgency daily. And I don't know that that has changed. It probably hasn't from my perspective. I'm always on go.
When it comes to hiring,
So yeah, that was a very Tomlin answer, I think. But it just
Yeah, for sure.
what you'd expect. I don't think that was a great question either. What's he gonna
No.
tell you about it? Yeah, and it's not like he's a guy who's been bouncing around the league and this is his third job. I mean, he's only been in one place and
Yeah.
it's been pretty consistent. The Steelers aren't an organization that really makes changes, so I don't know if you
Yeah.
have anything else to add to that one at all.
No, nothing at all. I mean, I think like I said, he gave the best answer you could give for a question like that, you know.
So I think it's another coordinator question here.
Okay.
offensive coordinator, who will be some of the people having a say in that decision?
Be a small group. It'd be obviously myself, Art Rooney, and Omar Khan.
Yeah, that was another thing to hear. It's not going to be just his decision.
Mhm.
Maybe this is just a political answer, and it will be only his decision. But I do believe what he's saying there. I think
Yeah.
it might be different than other signings before, where maybe he would have had more of a say in who they're going to get. Maybe that's something that the
Yeah.
organization's talked about, how it's time to get someone dynamic and let's go outside. And
Yeah,
because this
for
is
sure.
definitely going to be a different hire than what he has done before. It's going to be an external
Yeah, for
hire,
sure.
which he has not done yet to this point.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's great that it's going to be a little bit more people in there to make the decisions, and it's not just, he's just getting the freedom to do whatever. It's going to be it seems like to be a little bit more structure and discipline now with some things, maybe because of this season, who knows.
Yeah, I feel you. See what we got going on. We got a few more minutes.
Would you prefer that this person have prior NFL coordinating experience with your last two hires?
Yes.
Mike, would you consider adding to your offensive staff, maybe someone that could help oversee or bring new ideas?
Certainly. I'm looking at all components of staffing as part of the annual end of the season review, and additions in terms of expertise are certainly a component of that.
Mike, did Rudolph,
So yeah, there's two more questions on the topic. I do like that he's going to look for someone who has some play calling experience. Which would mean he's probably that would probably be involved stealing someone else's offensive coordinator. I know a lot of people are trying to dream up Eric Bieniemy, former Chiefs and now San Diego Chargers coordinator as a guy, but I don't know if he's going to leave that job or if he's going to get a head coaching job himself. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know too many names out there of guys that are playing calls that aren't coordinators. So it'll be interesting what happens if he's looking for a guy with play calling experience.
Yeah, or maybe it's somebody who hasn't even been in the league for a few years. I don't know. Maybe somebody.
Yeah,
looking to buy
that's
for a
another
job,
possibility.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. And speaking on the Chargers coordinator.
I messed that up before you go too far. He's with the Commanders, not the Chargers.
The Commanders. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Sorry about that. That was on me.
Even the same thing. It's Commanders coordinator. I think it's just gonna, even if they stay in that position, that person, it'll probably come down to whoever gets the coaching job. You know what I mean? If they decide to stay as the offensive coordinator, so it's just gonna depend on that.
Yeah, I don't know why I was going with the Chargers, but yeah, he's in Washington. But let's keep going. No. The other thing in there was he talked about adding to the offensive staff. I do think that getting a senior, like an offensive assistant or analyst, like something like that, might be interesting. Get a guy who's maybe retired, who's a good offensive mind. Just get another voice in that room. I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
So that'd be something that'd be interesting if they can do something.
Yeah, I think
along
that's
those
something.
lines.
I think that's something me and you hit on earlier in the season. We talked about it with the Matt Canada thing once he was gone. I think that's something we hit on, to definitely have somebody else be brought in as an assistant to kind of help with the play calling for sure.
Yeah. To defend myself, the reason I was saying the Chargers is that's where Kellen Moore went, who was with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Him, Bieniemy, and Kellen Moore were the two big OCs that didn't get head coaching jobs, but still left their positions. One Dallas to Los Angeles, and then the Chiefs to the Commanders. That's what was I'm going to use that as my excuse.
That's fine. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Change your perception of him or what he might be capable of this year?
Oh, certainly. I don't think that any of us can deny what we've seen over the last
Pause it real quick. This is about Mason, just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
month or so. I cannot underscore how impressive it is to be ready. Forget performance, man, to be ready to deliver. And he was, and that preparedness showed. And so certainly, we're less speculative about his capabilities because there's evidence of it, and evidence of it in tough circumstances.
That he came into two training camps and came out as the number 3 quarterback. When he got to play, he gave you some of the best results you've gotten. Give you some pause or cause you to look into the processes that led you to deciding he was going to be the number 3 the last 2 years?
No, man. Oftentimes I say there's a fine line between being a Pro Bowler and a backup in our business, and it is. And so, I'm not surprised by anything that has transpired, man. He is very capable. They all are across positions. I just think that when you're at the tip top of the food chain, that's how it is. And it's our job as professionals, man, to be ready and to let our talent show. He did those things.
That was
performance in the season.
That was a good question and a good answer, I think.
Yeah.
I'll let you go off first since I've been hogging all of it.
Yeah. I mean, it is surprising that that Mason was, the third string for the 2 years, and he outplayed both quarterbacks, at the end of the season. But he came in, he did his thing, he was prepared, and I think that's a great thing, that to be prepared like that, not even just to play great, like he said, to be prepared and ready to play, regardless of if you're the backup or the third string or fourth string, whatever. I mean, he was prepared, and that's what came down to it, and he did a good job over that past month. So it was great to see. So, hopefully, during this offseason, if he does stay, and he's back, the competition is great, and he's not the third string again, but you just never know whoever gets brought in or wherever he goes, whatever's going to happen. But, if he stays, you want to hope to see that he definitely pushes Kenny to be a better quarterback for sure.
I do want to give Tomlin the credit, though. He has been consistent saying that he had faith in all 3 guys. So for him to now say that they were always close enough and the difference between a backup and a Pro Bowler is there, those are things that he has said in the past. So I will give him some credit and put value in what he's saying there. I don't think it's just coach speak or anything like that. I think he honestly did have at least some faith in all 3 of these guys, even if it was Mason who had the least faith in. But I mean, even before his first start, he talked about how he was prepared and he had faith in him, and Mason showed that faith was warranted. I think this ends up the last few bits is just about Kenny and how important 2024 is. So let's go into the final little swing here.
In tough circumstances.
The fact that he came into 2 training camps and came out as the number 3
on the field with everything that comes with being starting quarterback, captain, leader of this team.
I'm extremely confident in him. I feel stronger about some of the intangible things than I did, obviously, when we first started doing business with him, because I have evidence of it. He's highly competitive and professional. He doesn't run from challenges. He runs to challenges. I think that's evident in the way he plays, particularly at the end of close football games. He's got good framework to work with, and for a young guy, he's mature beyond his years. I'm excited about him.
Mike, that being said, is he at the point of his career now where there's some of the improvement has to be tangible, not just?
Certainly, it's a big year for him. We met this morning, and we acknowledged that. It is a huge year for him. But I'm also excited about just watching him wear that component of it, because I know how he's wired and built, and I'm excited about watching him attack it.
So yeah, that's there is more to his press conference. If anyone wants to go out and search for it, there is some more out there. But I'll end it there. I think that was a final little comments about Kenny. Good spot. We had a lot of
Yeah.
talk about Mason. We had a lot of talk about the offensive coordinator position. But what do you think
Yeah.
will be there about Kenny towards the end?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely speaks highly of him, and and definitely sees Kenny as a very viable QB1. So he definitely feels as though Kenny has a lot of fight in him, and definitely very competitive and ready to come into the next season as the quarterback. Especially but of course there's going to be some competition, but I think maybe he's right about Kenny. I don't think that anything that he said tonight in that press conference, I don't think any of it was wrong. I don't think any of it was just talk. I think he was being honest, and I think he's really ready to come into this next season a different team and a different coach.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I do think it shows that he does still see Pickett as a guy who can run this offense, and it'll be interesting to see where we go with this offseason quarterback wise. It seems like he thinks that the QB1 is on this roster, meaning it's going to be Mason or Kenny, but that could just be some bluffing. I don't know what other language you want to use for it, and maybe they're going to go out and try to make a big splash in the offseason and keep their cards close to the vest until then.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just have to wait and see over the coming months of this offseason, see what happens.
So
I
figured
will say real quick. I hope that they also look at the defensive coordinator and defensive side of things as well, because the defense definitely gave up a lot of yards and definitely gave up too many plays and too much time in possession for a lot of the opposing teams. So hopefully they're looking in that direction as well this offseason.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. Personally, I think it'll be tough to make a move there. I think Terrell Austin's respected coach around the league, and there were injuries, and to change both coordinators, I don't know if that's something that Tomlin's going to be willing to do. Maybe it'll be a scenario where they try to find Austin a nice job to bounce back on, and then say, hey, why don't you try this out or something. But me personally, I think Austin's going to be back next year myself.
Okay. Yeah.
But Steelers season's over, but that doesn't mean the playoffs aren't over. So I figured we can wrap up by giving our predictions on these 4 games this weekend.
Yeah.
You're cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Saturday.
Yeah, we went 50% this last week, so let's see if we can do a little better. Yeah, see if we can do a little better this week.
Was that combined, or was that both of us were 3-3?
We were both 3-3. Yeah.
Okay.
We were both. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't looking good for me, and I don't know. Are you going just head, or were you counting the spread too, or just the overall matchup? Because
I think I was counting everything. Yeah, I think the spread had to be a little bit. I think it might have probably overall is probably worse. It might have been worse.
Yeah,
overall.
I don't think
I was just going for
well.
I think it was just more for the prediction of the teams. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But 4:30 Saturday, it's the Texans versus the Ravens. The Texans looked really good wild card weekend, but me personally, the Ravens are at home. They're 9-point favorites. I'll take the Ravens, and I will take the points. I know Lamar has had worries about all the time off in the past, but I still think that the Ravens are like a really good team, and they're going to just figure it out and win this one.
Yeah. I think I'll take the Ravens. I'm not going to take the points. I'm a little nervous with that one.
9 points is a lot.
I will take the Ravens. Yeah, I think I'll take the Ravens though to win that game. I think they, they had a nice little bye week. They're rested. Lamar Jackson looking like an MVP candidate all season. They gave a lot of teams fits this year. I mean, so I think they will come out and win this game, but I will not take the points.
Next up on Saturday is kind of a similar game, I would say, is the Packers at 49ers. The 49ers are 9.5-point favorites. And I'll let you go first on this one since I was in that first one.
This one's going to be tough because, the Cowboys all season, they didn't lose at home. They had a very good team. The defense was pretty good, and they got blown out in the first half by the Packers. Now, the 49ers have been resting again, just like the Ravens. They got to rest this week as well. And the 49ers are just, they have too many weapons on that team. I mean, it's just it's almost kind of unfair. But I think that the 49ers will pull it off. I don't think that the Packers are going to get 2 weeks in a row where they're dominating a team and blowing them out like that. I think they're going to have their hands full with all the offensive weapons that the 49ers have. I won't take the points again because I just feel as though it might be a little bit closer than that. But I do think that the 49ers will win that game.
Yeah, I'm on 49ers, and I'll give those points. I'll take 49ers in that minus 9.5. Also, I think that they're the most complete team left, and
yeah,
I 2 weeks. Shanahan's a great coach. I think he'll have something prepared, and they'll be ready to go. And I think it might be one of those blowout games. We saw a lot of blowouts last week. I think it's going to be another one of those blowouts.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 3 o'clock on Sunday, is Buccaneers at Lions. Lions are 6.5 point favorites here. Buccaneers look good on wildcard weekend also. Lions had a good game against the Rams for sure. I'll take the Lions. I'll give the points again. I don't know. I'm liking the favorites this week. 6.5. You're not giving up a full touchdown there. Yeah, I'll take the Lions over the Bucs, and I'll give those points out.
Yeah, I think I'll take the points as well, and I'll definitely go with the Lions. The Lions have just such a great offense. I think that the Eagles just I don't know what they did. They just gave up at the end of the season, and it's crazy that the Buccaneers even won that game and they blew out the Eagles. But I don't think they're going to do the same thing. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. Like you said, I think I'll take the points, but I do think the Lions will beat the Buccaneers this week. I think it'll be definitely a good game, but I'll take the points there.
And then our main event of the weekend, the evening, whatever you want to call it, Chiefs at Bills. These two teams have matched up a lot lately, and they've all been pretty good games, I would say. Who are you looking for here, Chiefs or Bills? Bills are -3. They're the favorite.
Yeah. This is going to be – there's been, like you said, a lot of battles between these two. But I think this is Josh Allen's year, and I think he's going to take it. They're playing at home in Buffalo. I think that, with Patrick Mahomes, this is going to be his first playoff game on the road. He's always played at home, and I think the environment is going to be different for him. I don't think he's going to have the Chiefs fans, as many there. It's going to be more Buffalo, and I think that Josh Allen is looking for some type of retribution and some revenge against those games with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it might even come down to a shootout between these two. I think it might be high scoring, but I think the Bills will take – what was the points again? I'm sorry.
3 points.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll take the points too, but I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to that. I'll take the points, and I'm going to take the Bills to move on to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I'm there with you, and I don't know, maybe I'm going a little crazy here, but I think the Bills might just have this might be the year for the Bills, and they're on a roll, and it's I'm seeing them, and I'm looking a lot at like the Colts Super Bowl team and the Steelers 2005 team, where it was like the year before that they were much better record-wise and much better regular seasons the previous year. And then they were a little slow to start the next year, but they ended up finding a way to get the postseason. Once they were in the postseason, they just were able to pull off win after win and get to the Super Bowl. And I think that could be the same kind of scenario with the Bills. So, I'll take the Bills. I mean, you never want to bet against the Chiefs. You never want to bet against Mahomes. This is actually his first road playoff game, I'm pretty sure. That just shows you how great he's been and how great the Chiefs have been, that he's never had a road playoff game up until this point. But yeah, those are the picks for this weekend. I was Ravens, Niners, Lions, Bills, and I think you were the same way on all
same
of them?
thing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but you wanted if we're looking at the spread, you had the Texans covering it, or the Texans would keep within 9, right? And then you also had the Packers keeping it within 9.5, right?
Yeah.
You think this would be a little closer? And I was thinking that there'll be blowouts. But yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it, right, Lee? How you feeling?
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
we
good.
talked about the actual predictions, but how you feeling about just the matchups and how fun this weekend will be? You think it'll be a good weekend of football?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good weekend of football. Again, unfortunately, you really want to see the Steelers in there, but I think it's gonna be a good week. I mean, we got some teams that you don't ever see really in there. The Lions, the Texans, like
Yeah.
that, it's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm excited to just kind of see what happens. Will the Lions continue this role and keep going on to the NFC Championship? Are the Packers going to upset the 49ers? Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, after what they just did to the Cowboys, I mean, I think it's going to be a really fun weekend of football.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We'll be able to talk about it next week. But yeah, I'll see you from here.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Have a good one.
I'll see you. You too. I'll see you.
Yep.